We are often driven to seek that which we consider valuable, but in that relentless search for these things, we may destroy something we don't realize is valuable until it's too late. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. Read by Karl. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except the old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle racks, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before someone lifted the Lorax away. What was a Lorax? Why was it there? Why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows. The old oncer lives there. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the oncer. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his workin' on top of his store. He lurks in his workin', cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffled moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters. Sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count, to see if you paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his groovyless grub. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-mophone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Slurp! Down slops the whisper-mophone to your ear. The old onceless whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swami songs ran out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored troughs of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ribulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I know just what I'd do. I loaded my cart. No time of all I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill, with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a sneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I've chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard, I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpest and bossy. Mister, he said, with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs, he was very upset as he shouted and puffed, what's the thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree, I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a sneed. A sneed is to find something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers, or bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There's no one on earth who would buy that fool sneed. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just that moment a chap came along, and he thought the sneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the lorax. You poor stupid guy. Never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Winslow family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch. In no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Winslow family was working full tilt. We were all knitting sneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making sneeds 4 times as fast as before, and the lorax didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I'm the lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round, and my poor barbaloots have all getting the crummies, because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Winslow, felt sad as I all watched them go, but business is business. Business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered the wagons, I biggered the loads of the sneeds I snipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more sneeds, and the bigger my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when an old nuisance lorax came back with more gripes. I am the lorax, he coughed, and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. Once more he cried with a crofulous croak, Once you're making such smodulous smoke. My poor foamy swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so, said the lorax, please pardon my cough, they cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the lorax, his dander was up, let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup, also sloppity-slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old once-were-man you. You're glumping the pond where the humming-fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They walk on their fins and get woefully weary. It's citrus and water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap-yap and say, bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. For your information, you lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into sneeds, which everyone needs. And for that moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe in a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more sneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles, my aunts, every one, all waved me goodbye. They jumped in my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. And all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the lorax, and I. The lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. Just gave me a very sad backward glance. And lifted himself by the seat of his pants. Never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place to a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I sat here and worried away. Through the years when my building had fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds. And truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. The lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end.